Hi, and we're back with a campus update with Hogan Medlin. So we're going to talk about some major issues going on through the university and what's happening on campus these days. So Hogan, what's your understanding of the 82-18 rule, the percentage of in-state versus out-of-state students?
So this is something that is part of the constitution of the UNC system that was originally written way back when, which comes along with just the notion that 82% of the undergraduate population are North Carolina residents, and 18% are out-of-state students. And that 18% includes out-of-state within America, but it also includes international students. So I think that's something people just tend to sort of forget, that international students are obviously out-of-state students, but they're part of the 18%. In fact, they're about 2% of the 18%. And as far as that distinction goes, it really has to do a lot with, the way that this university was founded. It was founded as the University of the People, and it's the University of North Carolina. And so, citizens of North Carolina pay taxes, for the state. And obviously, the state has historically given a lot of support to the university system ever since its inception. Tuition was free for a long time, and then, of course, as the economy was developing over the years, tuition became something that was implemented, and so that's the existence, and sort of the tradition has always been obviously more in-state students admitted to the university, with 18% being out-of-state students.
We also wanted to talk today about the Admissions Ambassador Program, abroad program. Can you tell me a little bit more about what it is?
Yeah, this is something really exciting that we're doing in student government this year, and I love having the opportunity to talk about it. Part of the Global University section of our platform was thinking about ways that the university is reaching out beyond Carolina and reaching out to our international students. This actually has to do with that 2% of the 18% we were just talking about. Our international student base at Carolina is so important to the diversity and the classroom discussions and providing that different perspective that even an in-state student versus an American couldn't provide. And I think if you've ever come across a student at this university who is an international student, I'm sure in some way you've benefited from their presence here at Carolina. So we took it upon ourselves to start thinking about, it's a low budget year. Our admissions office is having trouble leaving the state to recruit top students. Nonetheless, to leave even the nation to recruit students, it's just not happening. So how can we stay competitive amongst the Ivies and some of the other privates that do have a global presence? How can we still stay competitive with them and doing our outreach to the top students in the world, and making sure that when they think about an American education, it's not just your Ivy League, it's not just your Harvards and your Dartmouth because they'd seen the movie, what's that movie? Whatever the comedy is with Dartmouth. Yeah. So, I think that people normally think of the Ivy Leagues when they think of an American education. And I think anyone who goes to Carolina, who has a degree from Carolina, will agree that we have just as much to offer as any Ivy League, if not more, because of our student body and the diversity and what we do. And so that's what we're trying to do. So the program itself is really looking at a way to not cost the university any extra dollars, but to really collaborate with the Study Abroad office, the admissions office, our alumni living abroad, so with the General Alumni Association, and with students who are going abroad. So we send 33% of students at Carolina study abroad during their time here. That's a lot of students. We send them to all parts of the world, and we think that there's a huge opportunity to select some target cities to sort of start a pilot program where we are sending students who study abroad and who have applied to become an admissions ambassador abroad, have received a training here on campus before they left, and are going to be partnered with an alum in that city that they're going to. So for example, we've identified London, Shanghai, Tokyo, and Singapore as some of our initial target cities. We're also looking at Brazil because we know that there's a lot of boarding schools there, and also in Cape Town, South Africa, or Johannesburg. So we're looking at some opportunities to try to hit parts of the world where students are studying abroad already, and to give them the opportunity to network with alums in that area, but also to go to a boarding school in that area and make a joint presentation with that alum. Simply talking about the application process to UNC, talking about what a liberal arts education is. A liberal arts education is sort of a foreign concept to lots of parts of the world, especially in Europe. You're going to higher education very specifically for one thing. And here, at Carolina, we offer you 2 years to take general education courses to take a variety of whatever you're interested in before we ask you to choose a major or a double major or a minor or et cetera. So there's a lot more flexibility in that, and we think that's something that in an American education we want to market. UNC, we should be able to market that to other parts of the world. So it's an incredible idea that came from an international student when we were working on the platform last year, and we've presented it to UNC Global Advisory Committee. We've presented it to people in South Building, and I've presented it to the trustees, and there's a lot of support behind it, mostly because the structure is in place. We just need to connect the dots and get people on board with this program. So, ultimately, we're trying to increase the number of international applicants and then the diversity of those applicants. One really good example that I always use is think of London as it really is one of the boarding school capitals of the world. If you make a presentation at a boarding school in London, you could be talking to students from South Africa, South America, Asia, whose parents have sent them to London to receive, an English education, if you will. We can be targeting those students just as much as the privates and the Ivies are. And so this is something we think is really empowering for a student to be able to say that they've done. They've been an international ambassador for the University of North Carolina. They've met an alum, they worked with them, and then they also sort of increase UNC's name across the world. And we're really excited about it. We've got a lot of momentum, and the plan is to have the structure and the process in place by the time we leave office, so that next fall we can have our first round of international ambassadors.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Lenoir renovations? Is Lenoir even old enough to have renovations?
So they have some really great plans actually in place that I wanted to make sure that we were able to tell students now. There will be more publicity about it in the coming weeks after Thanksgiving, but it's good to get it on your radar now. So if you think outside of the Lenoir on the front, you have those picnic tables outside of what they call the House of Dogs. In case you didn't know that whole downstairs little area is called House of Dogs. Just learned that recently. And they're going to tent that entire squared off section in the front of Lenoir with a big white tent that's going to have flaps down the side. And the reason that they're doing this is so that they can create a massive seating space there. And it is outside, so you got to think, okay, well, we're about to hit winter. It's going to be very cold.
Freezing, and it's only a tent.
It's only a tent, but they're going to put heaters inside to heat the entire tent. Lighting as well, so it can be open at nighttime. So that's one tent. They're also putting a tent. Now you have to envision this with me. Think of Greenlaw and Lenoir, and in between those, there's that walkway.
Right.
Correct? Now, if you're walking from the pit down that walkway, it actually breaks off on the right to a big square that's not in the walkway area. That's where a second tent will go, and it's actually a little bit bigger than the one at the front. So you're going to have a tent up front, you're going to have a tent in the back, and those combined seats are going to provide 160 to 180 seats. So it should make up for the seats that are displaced during construction. So we took cabinet to Lenoir and asked, it's about 50 students that we took, and we asked them to give feedback. Are people going to sit in a tent? Are people even going to want to go outside? And after we looked at the designs and the actual plans and the way that they're going to route traffic on Main Street, which is the second level technically, it actually seemed pretty foolproof. I mean, there's going to be some kinks, I think, to work out as any construction process.
Be careful to say foolproof for anything.
As any construction process at Carolina will show you. It's actually funny. Before I came to Carolina, my brother was here, and so I had some friends in his grade, and they always said UNC was the University of Never-Ending Construction.
I think it's true. The first time I visited campus, I don't remember seeing the campus because we just drove around, and all I saw was orange cones. Yeah.
And
Still ended up here.
moving forward, I guess. So this is going to be a construction project that will certainly play a role in the day-to-day lives of students because it will be very obvious that there's something going on. But I don't anticipate it greatly hindering your lunch or dinner or breakfast, lunch, or dinner experience. For students upstairs, you shouldn't even notice it. They're going to separate the area that doesn't even already exist, so the upstairs area will be running and it'll be fine. I think the one concern that we did bring to dining services was the fact that it's going to be running over the summer, and the C-top sessions do eat upstairs, and that upstairs area will be shut down over the summer. So
shut down completely?
The upstairs area is shut down completely while they're moving the dish room and a few other things as well. So, of course, that means that we're going to have to sort of reroute the C-top sessions to Ram's Head. which is a nice dining facility and has just as much of a variety. So I don't think it'll be a problem, but it requires, I think, some student input on how CTOPS is going to work, the scheduling and whatnot, and we're going to definitely be a part of that process. But we're excited. I think in the end we're opening up 200 more seats upstairs, and it's part of the initial phases of some of the other Lenoir renovations that haven't been quite finalized, but they're looking at really making that 3-story building a lot more accessible to students.
That sounds great. Anything else you'd like to add?
Have a safe Thanksgiving holiday, and we look forward to doing one more of these this semester.
Thanks. That's Hogan Medlin live in the Satellite Studio, and I'm Megan Cassell. Thank you.